You're listening to The Ranch Sitdown with your host, Shayne Hollinger.
Welcome back. It's Austin Meade. How are you, man?
Good, man. Good. Glad to be back in my birth city here.
Yeah. How's long has it been since you've been here? It seems like you've been on the road forever.
Yeah. Our last time through Fort Worth, man. It's been a while. I think I did hit it in December on our acoustic Christmas tour last year.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And other than that, man, I don't know. It's been a while. I feel like I used to play Fort Worth every weekend growing up, and then things just changed. So now it's like good to come back home for a minute.
Right. You started in, I guess, the Texas red dirt scene. I think you have found where you need to be, man. This rock thing is working out for you pretty okay.
It's been fun. I feel like I always saw myself doing this, but I just couldn't articulate where I needed to be at. And I think we finally found how to make the sounds we wanted to make and to just be free and not have to be like anybody else, So it's been a lot of fun. It's definitely a big learning experience, and I mean, if I wouldn't have had the experience that I had in the Texas music scene, then I definitely wouldn't be doing the things that we're doing today or know what the heck to do in the bigger situations as far as like the festivals they put us on and support spots, all that knowledge you get from playing, Magnolia Motor Lounge 4 times a month. It kind of you got to learn from it and kind of put everything into place, and it's a good perspective and point of view to think about. I guess I've been doing this for about a decade, maybe 12 years, so I feel like really old sometimes, but I'm also so fresh into the national scene and the rock scene that it keeps things exciting. I think I probably would have got bored if I would have just stayed regional for my whole career.
Right.
But damn, it feels good to be in Texas for a minute, even though it's June.
Right, yeah. And we got the hottest June we've had in forever, it feels like.
I don't know what's going to happen in July and August.
It may not be a Texas anymore. Who knows? So enjoy it while you can.
Yeah. I think we're actually going to be heading up north here pretty soon. We're doing Lollapalooza and a run around that. So that'll be
You're on a couple of Aftershock Festival, playing the same day as Guns N' Roses, Lollapalooza. You've been playing with Godsmack.
Yeah.
Dude, these crowds have got to be enormous.
They're pretty crazy. We got lucky last year and got to do the 50th anniversary ZZ Top tour, and that was really cool. It was really chill compared to the metal world, because it was kind of like the blues rock and a little bit of an older crowd. But just getting to meet those guys and sitting at lunch with Billy Gibbons was like, what the hell's going on?
No way.
Oh yeah, he was a big gear talk guy, and loves Texas and just guitars and cars and stuff. So that was pretty crazy. And then the Godsmack tour was a couple months ago. That was all amphitheaters and stuff. And we're just a small ant on the spectrum of that tour. But it was a lot of fun, and they treated us like we were big dogs like everybody else. So
that's great.
But the festivals are kind of crazy because it ends up being, you got 4 or 5 bands on one massive stage, and sometimes the stage is as big as the pit area in Billy Bob's. And so you're like, what the hell is going on?
So you got to run back and forth and you just wore out?
Yeah, pretty much. You got to make sure all your cables are long enough and your wireless is up to date, because it gets pretty wild. But yeah, we did Welcome to Rockville a couple weeks ago, or on the last tour, and that was our second time to do that one. And that was it's inside the Daytona 500. So that was pretty freaking awesome. This will be our first year on Lollapalooza, and then Aftershock Festival, and then I think there's one more, Louder Than Life. So I think we're doing maybe the same stage as Limp Bizkit on that one, so I'm pretty pumped about that.
I bet you are, man.
Yeah.
It's got to be cool to get on the stage with these bands that you grew up listening to.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, man. We're still when the sun's up, earlier in the day, but it's so damn cool to get out there and rock out, and sometimes you see the guys, vibing to your stuff early in the day, getting ready for their thing, and so it really puts you in positions to meet new people and shake new hands and really just try to prove yourself in a really short amount of time.
Right.
So
was there a defining moment for you, Austin, where rock, that's it, completely it?
I don't think that it was completely it. For me, it was always songwriting. So, like, I've always wanted to write songs, and I think that one thing you can find that's, I hope, is consistent through all my records is songwriting. I like to tell stories early on, and then, maybe around the Black Sheep record, like around 2020, 2021, there were still stories, but it was like personal connection type stuff. And the Black Sheep was kind of maybe the moment of the giving everybody the finger, but it was more of like giving myself the finger and like accepting that, like, okay, I've done this thing, and I've loved like Tom Petty and Ryan Adams growing up, and I've also loved country growing up, like anywhere from 90s country to Turnpike, and Cody Canada's always been a big part of my life, and like, I think right around Black Sheep is whenever we decided to just, I guess putting down an acoustic for a while was a part of it, playing a lot of electric. Finding Willie has been in the band with me for about that long, and so really having his thumbprint on the band has been a big change. So like before Black Sheep, there was a guy named Shayne Baker playing with me. We were high school friends, and he plays for American Aquarium now. And so his new chapter was going to do that after American Aquarium like reformed.
Right.
And so I was like, well, what the hell am I going to do? And then my roommate at the time, Jimmy Heritage, was parking cars at the Radisson in Austin with Willie. He's like, oh, I know this kid who can shred. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see if it works. And then, here we are 6 years later. So there's been a lot of chapters to it, and a lot of like awesome additions, and some people have come and gone. But I think the main thing is just like, just committing yourself to like the songwriting and whatever you want to do, and then just not really giving a shit about anything else. Back at the Waves era, which was like 2017 or 2018 maybe, Co was always telling me, he's like, you got to meet my friend Taylor Kimball, he's doing my records. He's like, you guys need to make a record. And I was like, maybe, I don't know him really that well, and anyways, Co finally like got me to go hang out with Kimball and cut a record with him, and that was like the first step in I guess me maybe having a little bit more control or direction, or like maybe know where I'm going a little bit in life, because I didn't really know what the hell I was doing before that. And I think there was good music before that, but I think it was probably just trying to copy and paste of somebody else. And then, we did our next record with him too, Abstract Art of an Unstable Mind, and that was definitely a very like alternative record. Some might call it abstract, but there's a lot of heavy elements in that record. And then that actually, when we were working on that record, is when Black Sheep came out. So I've been like a couple years ahead of what you guys actually see.
Yeah.
So we're already working on the next record, even though Abstract Art just came out in October. And Blackout's like the first single off that, but there's a whole bunch more that are kind of up that vein. And I don't know, Blackout might be one of the lighter songs on the record.
Really?
So yeah. Well, I mean, I
got such a cool, big, full sound to it, though, man. It really is. It's really neat.
Yeah, it's a different production style.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I got to keep up with like the guys that we're touring with now. So I'm like,
right, yeah.
I gotta
you
be myself.
You don't want to embarrass yourself.
Right, be myself, but always like trying to step up into the next level of what I consider like the next level of writing or production, or whether it be a guitar riff, So I don't know, but I've always loved the scene, and I think that, just touching back on the spot of like doing so many years in the Texas scene only, and specifically, just around here and around Oklahoma, it like made me a little bit more somewat cautious maybe of who I work with, but like I look at the bigger situation sometimes. I'm still a very I don't even know what the word is, but I just react on the point. I don't really have a filter that much,
Right.
Maybe that's why I didn't really ever stick really hard in this scene. I think maybe I was a little bit too offensive.
You didn't kiss a lot of ass is what it was. Yeah.
Well, I just got tired of that. And I had many friends tell me in the scene, you want to play the game or not? And I was like, fuck no, I don't want to play the game. I want to play music,
right.
and I don't know, I also think that the whole attitude of this scene has changed to like things like that more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think if I would have done that I don't know, a couple years later, maybe it would have stuck a little bit more, you
Mhm.
know. But I don't know, like the timing of things is crazy, right? I mean, you've seen so many waves of musicians, like whether it be the Wade and Randy era, or you know,
Mhm.
the Cody and the Stonies, the
Mhm.
McClures before that. I mean, there was so many bands before that and after that, and you had the Turnpikes and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and then obviously the Parker and Coes. And so I've been around for like a couple of those, so I'm just
Mhm.
kind of like sitting in the back,
Fun to watch.
kind of like waiting. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Almost like, okay, if I don't stick in this group, maybe I'm a part of the next group. But I don't know. It's like there are a lot of people that do really well in this scene and don't necessarily do the same thing nationally. But then there are
Mhm.
other people who do amazing nationally, and they come to this area and it's tough to break into
Right.
because it's like such a small knit
Oh, yeah.
community. But it makes me feel, you know, like hopeful and good that we can do national stuff. And
Absolutely.
but nothing feels as good as coming home to Texas or Oklahoma and like really packing a house of your own people that know your stuff, you know.
Mhm.
And but it is pretty mind blowing. I mean, we were in Pennsylvania for like part of this year, and before that we were in Vermont and done a bunch of stuff in New York. So you're throwing a bunch of rednecks up there with the Yankees, you know. We're out there fixing the trailer and working on the van, like in the
Right.
parking lot, and everybody else is looking at us like, what the
Wait,
hell
wasn't that guy on stage earlier?
yeah. Oh, I'll be under there changing oil, and you got staff coming out there. Why are you doing that? Well, who else is gonna do
Like,
it?
are you gonna do it
yeah,
for me?
yeah. What do you mean? It's just. I think it's a different state of mind. But people up north, they always love. Well, I say the people that I've met that have been nice to me up north
Right.
always love to meet people from Texas because it's
Mm-hmm.
you know usually a pretty dang friendly conversation, and I think people from the South really have like a pretty hard work ethic, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
also the lack of filter. So
Yeah,
you know,
right.
It's pretty fun.
I think a good thing for you being in the Texas scene first, you know, for so many years was you built that stage presence. And so when you went out on a national level, you're
Yeah.
already you feel comfortable up there, and you see that a lot in this scene. Guys and gals that have done it for years, you know, regionally, they finally break out on that national scene, and they know what they're doing, at least, instead of, you know, some new AR guy that just finds this guy and like, oh yeah, he was great, I saw him on YouTube, let's put him on a big stage, and they're
Yeah.
completely uncomfortable. But like, that's part of the show, obviously.
Yeah, I think that it definitely takes some time to grow into, and some people are just born with it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like that they don't have to spend all the time learning it and stuff. And everybody's got kind of a different approach to it. I mean, I've seen some of my favorite bands get up there and not really move very much, and so I've seen a lot of my favorite bands also run around like wild men, you know. And so you kind of, I think it just depends on the attitude of the band and the musician. But there's definitely a lot to be said about like grinding and driving around so long for so many years and
Mm-hmm.
figuring out how to travel and figuring out how to make things work whenever you might be stuck in West Texas or wherever, you know, with nothing around you. So that definitely happened many times, and it honestly made touring seem a lot easier because, I mean, for instance, last week we did Corpus and then Abilene. It's like
Wow.
people book that, and then you're like, yeah, sure. They're like, it's 2 shows in Texas. You're like, well,
You don't
dog.
realize it's like 10 hours apart.
Yeah. So, but when you go up to the Northeast or a little bit out west, it's a little spread out west. But Texas is one of the biggest, you know, like just travel between shows, you know, and you can
Mhm.
hit so many different states in the Northeast and on the East Coast 3 or 4 hours apart.
That's
It-
crazy.
it, like,
you find
seems
yourself
easy.
like riding more on those long road trips between shows in Texas?
In Texas, yeah, we used to ride a lot. Now I've been kind of having to like set aside days because I'm still doing a lot of the driving and you know, like vehicle maintenance or trying to catch up on sleep, you know. So at the moment, there's a lot of that going on during the day. Our riding for this new stuff, we've just like set aside a day here or there, and we've been going and writing with some friends that we made, some like metal friends in Nashville. So there's like a lot of metal people we've been riding with, which is always interesting because they think that we're like country,
Right.
you know.
Because
you know?
you're from Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we come down here and people are like, God, can you not do that heavy thing every single time? So, setting aside days has been really fun. And it's just been so, I mean, really so busy. From last year was like that too, but I mean, pretty much since we took a little break after our acoustic tour last December, and we hit it hard again starting like at the end of January, and we really haven't stopped. I mean, we might have had like 7 to 10 days at home since then, but it's been like, yeah. And we got a big one we're about to announce too, so we'll be gone for the rest of the year.
Good for you though, man.
Yeah.
Like that's what you worked for all these years.
You pray for it, and then you get it, and you're like, damn.
Yeah. Remember those days where we only played one show a month? Yeah.
Sometimes I wish that was still the case, you know what I mean?
Well, when you get the big shows,
yeah.
When you're in the spot where Godsmack is, you can do one show a month.
Yeah, hey, they're not though, man. They were doing.
Yeah, they play a lot.
Dude, we were playing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes taking a Friday off.
God.
And then doing Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Oh, we might take a Tuesday off. You know, it's pretty crazy. And the rock world works differently, you know, like the country scene and the red dirt scene. It's a lot of Thursday, Friday, Saturdays because, you know, that's when people want to come out. And I would personally love to just do that. But you get on the rock world and it's more of like you tour for 2 to 4 months and then you're off for like 3 weeks straight, like no specific show dates. And then you might kick off the next tour. You might kick it off on a freaking Tuesday, you know, and then you just run so far and so fast that it just doesn't really stop. And that's kind of how those days get away from you. And then
I bet, yeah.
all of a sudden you're like, damn, it's June and I thought it was March. So
do you want to do a song for us?
Yeah, let's do it. I smell the cigarettes. Looks like my phone is dead. Stupid shit again, still hanging with the same crowd. Try to remember when 2 turned to 6 a.m. Hope I still got some friends. Can someone take me home now? Promise myself that this is it. Strung out influence. Then I go straight back to Blackout. Every morning I wake up face down. Guess I'm a straight jacket dropout, role model rain cloud, the talk of my hometown. Then I go straight back to Blackout. Yeah. Keep hearing I'm the best at being such a mess. Dead last, first class disappointment. Sunday morning singing amen. Strung out influence. Then I go straight back to Blackout. Every morning I wake up face down. Guess I'm a straight jacket dropout, role model rain cloud, the talk of my hometown. Then I go straight back to Blackout. Wake up, bitch. Yeah. Straight back to Blackout. Talk of my hometown. Then I go straight back to Blackout. Every morning I wake up face down. Guess I'm a straight jacket dropout, role model rain cloud, the talk of my hometown. Then I go straight back to Blackout. Sweet.
Very nice, very nice.
We'll play with like 18 more guitars tonight.
You're right.
Some bass and synth and a bunch of other stuff.
And a kazoo. It'll be a big time. Austin Meade is playing tonight here at Billy Bob's, Texas, man. Congratulations, by the way. You're going to be a dad.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I actually met my wife at Billy Bob's, so even though my kid doesn't know it yet, he's coming back to where it all started.
Right. So what's next for you? The new album is out when?
Brand new music video for Blackout, and it literally, I mean, it just came out. So I think we're gonna be touring off of that for a bit, and then I can't say the name of the band yet, but we're doing a national tour starting in I think September or October, all the way through December. So yeah, pray for our livers and souls, because we will not be home for about 4 months. And somewhere in there, yeah, we're gonna have a kid. So hopefully that goes well. We've been, having rock and roll meetings 1 hour, and the next hour I'm putting together a crib. And
Right.
so it's kind of a interesting thing. Hasn't really hit yet. Maybe. I mean, I guess it has now. You can like feel them kicking and stuff, which is pretty wild.
That's a weird feeling.
Yeah, my wife is growing an alien. So. But I'm excited about it. I figure, probably have a pretty cool lifestyle, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
I've already got some golf clubs for him, so he better be a D1 athlete, I'm telling you.
Right, yeah. Because it doesn't matter how good you are at this rock scene. That college is expensive.
I
man.
know. I don't know if I want him to be a rock star or anything. I don't know, man. I think it's like, I feel like sometimes you live out your father's dreams. So, my dad loved rock music.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was his dream to do this or not, but, maybe I can convince my son to be a pro golfer. That'd be pretty badass. So.
I know. I wish my dad would have had a cooler job. My dad was a DJ too, so
Yeah.
He couldn't have been like a billionaire. That'd have been great.
Right. Well, then they're never happy, right?
Right.
We'll still make them work for their money.
That's a good point. Good point. Austin, buddy, man, good to see you again. Thank you so much for coming in tonight. Have some fun this evening, man. Welcome back to Texas.
Thanks for the time, man. We'll see you guys tonight at Billy Bob's.
Cannot wait to hear who this band is you're going on tour with. I'm really excited. It's Tom Jones, isn't it?
No.
No, not Tom Jones.
I'll
Wouldn't
tell
that
you
be great?
I'll tell you when we turn the mics off. It's Justin Bieber. No, I'm kidding. I would love that, honestly.
Yeah,
I would love
exactly.
that.
Justin Bieber and Tom Jones.
Opening for Taylor Swift.
Ooh, I'd be
Those are some crowds, man.
It was a 5-minute set.
boner.
Right.
I'm in.
Thanks, boys.
All right.
This has been The Ranch Sit Down. To hear more, check out our free app. Just search for 95.9 The Ranch or find it wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. New episodes every week.